Ừ.
Shy girl. Mega love shout out. Shy girl. We're in Scotland. It's no one. It's no one at the front.
Hmm?
It's no one at the front.
You want to go there? Huh?
When we stop,
Go if you want to go.
so we can. Okay, sorry. How's this, huh?
त्यो हाम्रो त्यो अघि हामी बसेको टाउन मार्केटको पसल हो रे
हो त्यही हो
त्यो चाहिँ लुई भिटन त यता छ
त्यही नै हो
Where's our apartment?
Where?
Yeah, where? Our apartment.
Hanover Street.
हामी त्यो हामीको तपाईँको नगद लागेको थियो रेटमा यहाँ अब लिन्छ कि सुन्यो यहाँ अब लिन्छ कि यहाँ अब लिएर सिधा गरेको र लेफ्ट लाग्छ क्या
राम्रो फुल आएर नि यो गरेर भित्र
केयर गर्ने मान्छे छ नि गोल्डनको स्टोरीहरू ल्यायो नि त
त्यही घुमायो
अब माथि बन्दाएर माथिबाट भन्दैछ लाग्छ
मैले यो भन्दै थिएँ ठ्याक्कै माथि इन्डियन खाना
and then presenting them all at once for payment. Other financial services were also developed here in Scotland. The Church of Scotland launched its Scottish Ministers' Widows Fund in 1744.
Because they want to be part of it. त्यो तीवाला बसेको नि
As we come around the corner, you can once more see the Scott Monument. Sir Walter Scott was born in 1771 and at first anonymously.
We get up later in here after.
It was unacceptable for Scott to be moonlighting as a storyteller. It wasn't until his fellow writer, Catherine Sinclair, outed him at a reading of his own works that the world learned of the mysterious author's true identity. Following his unmasking, Scott went on to write many more historical novels. On the death of Sir Walter Scott in 1842, the great and the good of Edinburgh came together to agree on a monument to the famous author. In a time when there was no television, writing novels such as Rob Roy, So Walter Scott himself is seated in the centre of his monument, and is carved out of white Italian Carrara marble. A bronze copy of this very statue, paid for by Scott's expatriates, stands in Central Park, New York.
Can we go there later then? Huh?
The easiest way to get from High Street to Princess Street is to cross the North Bridge. This impressive structure, measuring 525 feet,
तिमीले टिकट काटेर जाने होइन त लिफ्ट हो कि भरेन
त्यो 1 2 3 त्यसरी तलमा जति नै मान्छे छ के यहाँ पुलमा राख्दैन होला हामी नयाँ ठाउँ त यही एयरपोर्ट भन्दा अन्त यहाँ देखायो
Layers of skirts. You wouldn't want them to be lifted by the breeze. Wear your stockings with you.
Hindi mas na Biasa lang dan dito for
That's where the car park is down there.
Is it?
The energetic equestrian statue in front of Edinburgh
We don't know how long
is
it's
the
going
Duke of Wellington,
when we get
who is on his very
technical
and the statue celebrates his victory in
Can you
Maybe you are supporting against it.
just come to watch a place.
Hello, hello. Ini kan jadi kalau kita jalan sendiri sendiri semua. Kita pasti lihat kalau ada beberapa.
Maksudnya asal malah jadi tidak bagus. Tidak ada berkuras tidak ya. Aku ni kalau nak tak tahu sudah kan mungkin ada bagus. Sudah ada.
Ini ada semua.
Tu dia kan pada ni.
Ini kalau begitu
Kalau ada reach around.
It's young. It's gone, is it? Is that stopping still?
I don't know.
Not now, it's not saying.
See, I'm looking at this again.
Now it is.
Train station.
Don't get it. Can you hear anything? Can you hear anything?
No.
Scotland first burger.
It's okay.
You plan to sit for seated or not decorated?
Thank you.
During the International Festival in August. Their next stop is halfway between Edinburgh Castle and the Palace of Holyrood House. On this part of the Royal Mile, you can find the Museum of Childhood, John Knox House, and more places to have something to eat. Just ring the bell if you'd like to stop here for a while. Please remember to take everything with you, and when you wish to rejoin the tour, just come back to this stop. Check with your driver for the timings of the buses, and remember to check for any discounts and offers on your brochure. This is stop number 9. was opened in 1955 by Joseph Patrick Murray. Joseph never married, never had any children, and said that he didn't particularly like children. With his collection of children's toys, he always maintained that it was not a museum for children, but a museum about them. The museum says it's the one place where all the generations can share their stories, for young to be interested in the old, and for the old to feel they have something in common with the young. This is another one of our free museums. Here on the High Street is John Locke's house, the cream-coloured building that juts out onto the pavement. John Knox's life story was a complicated one. He was a Catholic priest who became a Protestant reformer. He was a galley slave who, his writings, found himself present at the Royal Court. If he ever actually stayed in this house, it was only for a short time. It may well be that the name John Knox's house was more to legend and wishful thinking than to historical fact. To find out more about John, you can take a tour of the building. Just look at their website for costs and tour times. On your right, just at the corner, there is a pub and close called the World's End. How did this part of Edinburgh come to have such a name? Well, it dates back to a time when the entire city was contained within a defensive wall. In the 1750s, before the city expanded to the new town area to the north, this half-mile-long city had a population of around 50,000 people. This is nothing. For such a long time, Edinburgh's residents beyond the city walls. Here are the traffic lights would have stood one of the 6 city gates. All visitors and inhabitants wishing to enter the city were required to pay a toll. This left many poor residents effectively trapped within the compact borough, making it their World's End. Today the bus will take you toll-free all the way to the bottom of the Royal Mile. The next stop is Mechanic Gate Kirk, the Museum of Edinburgh and the People's Story Museum. Just ring the bell if you wish to visit any of these. Please remember to take everything with you and check with your driver for the times on the buses. This is stop number 10. On the left, just behind us, the building with the magnificent clock is the People's Story Museum. It is housed in the historic Canongate toll booth, which was the administrative centre and jail for Canongate. The collections inside tell the stories of working class people of Edinburgh from the late 18th century to the present day. This is done through the use of oral history, reminiscences and written sources. You can see displays including a wartime kitchen, tea room and jail cell. This is another one of our free museums. Our next stop is for the Palace of Holyrood House, which is straight ahead. You can also use this stop for visiting the Scottish Parliament or a walk in Holyrood Park. Also check with your driver for the palace closing times. Alternatively, check their website. Just ring the bell if you wish to visit. Remember to take everything with you and check with your driver for the timings of the buses. Also, please check your brochures for any discounts and offers. This is stop number 11.
Yeah, there's Scottish
यहाँ ठिकै छ हाम्रो उतै दुइटै नै लान्छ जस्ट ओभर एन आवर भन्दा चाहिँ लास्ट टकै लग्दैन यहाँबाट 15मा लगेर यहाँ लगेर यहाँ रोक्छ यहाँ घुमाएर लगेर के गर्छ एउटा लुकको लागि ओर्लिनु पर्दैन पर्दैन
पर्दैन जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ
पर्दैन
अलि अगाडिको स्टेसनमा ओर्लिनु
के खाने कस्तो खाने
ए हामीले खाने हो भने त्यहीँ ओर्लिनु पर्छ
कहाँ खाने के खाने
त्यो मैले लिङ्क देखाएको थिएँ नि हुन्छ त्यो मैले गेम खेल्न जाने भनेको ठाउँमा
गेम खेल्ने ठाउँ कहाँ हुन्छ
छ त्यहाँ स्टल
छ खाइदियो अहिले बाहिर आउटसाइड सिटी सेन्टर आउँदैन सिटी सेन्टर खाँदैन मान्छे सिटी सेन्टर पक्रिँदैन बाहिर बस्छ अनि घुम्न आउँछ
त्यो भएपछि कहाँ ओर्लिने खानु
खाइदियो नि कहाँ खाने त्यही खाने अरूमा अरूको अघि त्यही नै खाने अरूलाई अचार चाहिन्छ त्यही दिएर एयरपोर्ट लानु हुन्छ एयरपोर्ट खेल्नु सक्दैन
यो कुन कुन भाषा सुन्नु त्यो अप्सनमा
जापानिज सुन्नु यो के हो भन्छ यो के हो भन्छ यो
बेल्जियम जर्मनको
अयो
यो तलको यो चाहिँ त्यो गर्छु मलाई थाहा छ सबै त थाहा होइन तर चाहिने थाहा बन्द भयो माइक बन्द भयो बन्द भयो त्यो भयो म बन्द भयो त्यो
अलि माथि रोक्नुपर्छ चलपल हेर्नु पाइन्छ देखेर उहाँको जरा जुडा
भन्दै गरेँ जसरी
मेरो यतापट्टिको बुढीले अरू मान्छे आएको थियो कि त्यो खिचिरहेको थियो कि
मात्र फुल मान्छेलाई बस्ने टाइम त दिनु नि
Designed by the Catalan architect Enric Miralles. There's quite a lot of Scottish symbolism in this building. For instance, they represent the three rings.
Where's that going?
You have to press the button to stop. Cosa tu giorni, per non
Lord,
Fitting one.
đây của nói làm thật đấy. Cái kiểu cái sự kiện này, cái thứ
Para dar uma vez,
Our next stop is for Dynamic Earth and Holyrood Park. Just ring the bell if you wish to visit either of these. If you would like to visit Dynamic Earth, please ask your driver about discounted tickets and opening times. Please remember to take everything with you and check with your driver for the times of the buses. This is stop 12. We are now at Dynamic Earth, a hands-on scientific attraction. Inside, you can travel in their deep time machine all the way back to the Big Bang and skyrocket through the universe in a spaceship. Traveling billions of times faster than the speed of light, you can see stars explode on the other side of the galaxy. You could also dive underneath the ocean in a big yellow submarine, and maybe you could even see a dinosaur or two. Where Dynamic Earth sits today used to be one of Edinburgh's breweries. The huge Abbey Brewery sat opposite the Royal Palace. Queen Victoria was, understandably, not very keen on opening her curtains every morning to see this. So the royal household paid for an artificial wall to be built around the brewery. It is said that during special visits by important guests, Victoria herself paid for men to parade along the battlements dressed as soldiers. We are making our way along Holyrood Road. Up until the beginning of the 20th century, it was simply known as the back of the Canongate. The road was famous for the number of breweries along it. Brewing was one of the most important and oldest industries in the city. The origin of brewing in Edinburgh goes back to the 12th century, when the monks of Holyrood Abbey were making their own
they
ale.
climb there.
In the 16th
How are they gonna
century,
get there?
beer was usually made by women
You see
at
all the
home.
views on top.
Over the centuries, breweries became more common, and it was said that there was one brewery for every 40 people in the city. By the turn of the 20th century, the city had 35 breweries. However, today there are only 3 left. As Edinburgh gained importance as a royal centre, the guest house of Holyrood Abbey grew to become a grand royal residence. By the early 1500s, Holyrood's royal status was firmly established, and it would become the primary residence of Mary, Queen of Scots. Mary spent a turbulent 5 years of her life in the palace, a dramatic and often tragic chapter in the history of the building. The palace was where Mary would witness the murder of her private secretary, and also where she would verbally spar with the religious firebrand John Knox. The Palace of Holyrood House has now been home to royalty for over 500 years, and it is still their official royal residence in Scotland. If we go back to September 1745, Holyrood Park would have looked very different from today. Bonnie Prince Charlie and his 6,000 Highlanders were in residence. At last, a Stuart prince was back at the Palace of Holyrood House. The young, handsome and charismatic Charles Edward Stuart had returned to Britain to claim his birthright. The people of Edinburgh turned out in their hordes to catch a glimpse of the young pretender. He had been brought up in exile in France, being told that the Stuarts were the rightful kings, not the Hanoverians. And so, for 6 weeks, the prince held court, hosting lavish parties for the admiring ladies of Edinburgh, many of whom came with gifts to shower the dashing prince. Few of them would know that it would all come to a dramatic end 6 months later, at the Battle of Culloden. This stop can be used to visit the Palace of Holyrood House. Just ring the bell if you wish to visit. Remember to take everything with you and check with your driver for the timings of the buses. Also check your brochures for any offers. This is stop number 13. Behind the ceremonies and the decorum of the Palace of Holyrood House, there is a dark and bloody history. It is most associated with our beautiful romantic queen of the 1560s, Mary Queen of Scots. In her apartments, where they were dining, her private secretary, David Rizzio, was stabbed 56 times by her jealous husband's band of followers. A stain on the floor is said to be his blood, and people have reported seeing his ghost in the rooms of the palace. Today, most visitors to the city arrive by plane or train, but for a long time the only way to travel was by stagecoach. Travelling between Edinburgh and London could take anything between 10 and 14 days. There is an old story that you were required to write your will before you even sat in the coach, because the route was so dangerous with gun-toting highwaymen. Not far from where we are now was the start of the Great North Road, which was based on the line of the old Roman road to London. Today it is simply known as London Road, which joins Edinburgh via the main motorway straight to the heart of the English capital. On the left, a little garden that can be seen as we come along Regent Road gives you a view of Holyrood Park and what's left of the giant volcano. In the garden, the Stones of Scotland. A Scots pine tree sits in the middle of a circle, surrounded by 32 stones. Each stone comes from a local authority, and the circle was created to celebrate the opening of the Scottish Parliament in 2004. These stones of Scotland represent a nation that harks back to its cultural and historic past, and forward to a modern country that has aspirations of democracy and equality. The next stop is for the Stones of Scotland, the Burns Monument, and one of the most fantastic views of old Edinburgh laid out before you. Just ring the bell if you wish to hop off here. Please remember to take everything with you and check with your driver for the times of the buses. This is stop number 14. On the right is a stunning Greek Revival building, the Old Royal High School. It was originally a boys' school, but they moved out many years ago, and the building has had a lot of different uses since then. The main hall was refurbished for the Scottish Assembly that never assembled, and it was also considered, but dismissed, as a possible new home for the Scottish Parliament. Behind the old Royal High School rises Carlton Hill. The panoramic views from the top have astonished visitors for centuries. The hill is also famous for its collection of historic monuments. You will discover the old observatory, the National Monument with all of its columns, and the monument to Admiral Lord Nelson in the shape of an upturned telescope. This is the perfect place for taking photographs of Edinburgh, especially at sunset. And from the top, you can see why Edinburgh has history written all over it.
But it's nice. It's a bit hot in here.
We are now nearing the end of our tour. Remember, your tickets are valid for either 24 or 48 hours, and you can hop on and off the buses as many times as you wish. Check your brochure for offers and savings on city sightseeing worldwide. Hopefully, you'll be taking home some great memories of our beautiful city. Please share your photographs on our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook pages. The world would love to see them.
You want to go all the way around
Yeah, and then we stop to the what you gonna see here?
Now, this is where it starts. It
Stop.
stops. And then it goes down to the mall. You can stay on.
Yeah, we can start.
You want to ask them if they want to...
What is in here?
Huh?
What's in here? Joy don't want to walk really.
Yeah.
We can go around again and then we stop.
What I'm saying, where we got on was a stop closer to the hotel if you want to get off at that.
This one, the one we stop, is close to the hotel. Yeah, we stop there to close to the hotel.
We got on there.
Yeah.
But if you get off there, the hotel is just there.
Okay. Did we walk around already? Did we see around?
No, because it's
Then we stop there later.
only gone around there
Yeah.
and back to here somewhere. So it's going to go down there, around there, and then back.
Yes, we walk around the hotel there. It's closer.
Eh?
Wala. Then we ask her later what's the interested on to get off.
Well, that's what I mean. Is you go and talk to them and see if they want to get off anywhere.
Yeah, when we go close to the city, to the hotel.
Wil je zelf zitten? Kijk, Kenny, maar hier zit vooraan. Ja, ga maar zitten. Ga maar zitten. Hier zo? Ik kom bij jou. Ja, jij mag. Ja, jij mag ook daar zitten.
Да, особенно нормально. Два быстро интересных диска. Первый это нам нужно сделать самый настоящий рост по старшинскому вопросу. Для учебного часа, когда это было определенный документ с основными личностью вашей позиции. Ты можешь при обсудить, я не знаю, мне сказать, сколько ты и сказать, сколько это будет стоить, если вы это сделаете. Все. Ну, CTC мы их отправляли, то есть вот эти первые два мема, которые писали, большие. Потом вот эти критичные лимиты, и кажется, очень подробно обязательно, которые согласованы вместе просто с как, грубо говоря, как сборник работы. Да, ну и только если там есть уточняющие вопросы, что вы как бы не делаете под пункт, просто как бы вставляете. Ну то есть это не совсем тупая работа, поэтому я прошу вас, что мы понимаем одно самоощущение, и как бы много что такое делать, запись, это, ну это пословие министра Кузань, мы сделали вот просто, грубо говоря, такой большой отчет по
We stopped to the big tower. I said we can. Is that the one there?
I don't know.
It's not like it.
When we get back to the stop that we got on, we go downstairs because the next one we get off
When?
the tower, close to the hotel.
Соответственно, как бы, может быть, вы нам, ну, там, не знаю, вы можете время поговорить. Хотели, чтобы первый день, а дальше мы думаем, как делать, потом, если нет, они не заморозили, они были специально расписаны в рамках публикации, и они просто сделали документ и разрешили публикацию. А потом, мы когда разбирались, они сказали, ой, они не знают, как это все сделать. Потому что когда они книги открываются, они попали Райк совершить примитивную. Да, но они сами говорят, что не знают, сейчас они подали разъяснение суд,
So long. It takes so long.
Welcome to Edinburgh, a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1995. Our tour today will mostly take you through the romantic old town of Edinburgh, giving you a feel for our medieval city. The author Alexander McCall Smith has said of Edinburgh, "This is a city of shifting light, of changing skies, of sudden visitors, a city so beautiful it breaks the heart
Like a
again
wedding.
and again."
I have a wedding.
If you're travelling upstairs on the open deck, could you please refrain from using umbrellas? And there is no standing up or leaning over
I
the
think
side of
that's
the
the
bus.
tower.
At various points on the
Talking
journey,
about.
we will have live electric cables above us
That's
for
not
the
far
tram
from the
system.
hotel.
Smoking or vaping and drinking alcohol are not allowed. And once again, could everyone please stay seated on the journey? When leaving the bus to explore our city, remember to take everything with you, including any litter. Ahead on the left is the Balmoral Hotel, with its majestic clock tower. But you might not want to set your watch by it if you're in Edinburgh. Traditionally, the clock on the tower is always 3 minutes fast. It's not because the clock mechanism is faulty in any way or keeps bad time. Traditionally, as of 1902, it has always been kept 3 minutes fast to ensure that people didn't miss their train. The only exception each year is on the 31st of December, Hogmanay, for celebrating the incoming new year at precisely midnight. So next time you're hurrying along Princes Street and glance at the Balmoral clock, don't panic. You still have 3 extra minutes to catch your train. On the right, the large building set back from the roadway is Register House. This is where we keep records of our hatches, matches and dispatches, or more properly, the births, marriages and deaths. It was the first purpose-built archives and public records office in Britain.
That market.
It is also one of the oldest in the world that is still used for its original purpose. Designed by the Scottish architect Robert Adam, the foundation stone was laid in 1774, but shortly after, they ran out of money. The derelict site was described as the most magnificent pigeon house in Europe. Building restarted 12 years later. Standing over 61 meters, or 200 feet high,
think
the
Jane
Scott
and I
Monument
had
is
photo
often
in
mistaken for a church, and is named after Sir Walter Scott, who is credited with inventing the historical novel in the 18th century. He could mix fact and fiction together, creating stories about Scotland's people, its history, and its landscape. If you think his monument looks old and dirty, it's meant to. The architect George Meikle Kemp wanted it to reflect the Gothic style of Scott's novels, and over the years, the smoke from Waverley Station's steam trains has blackened the sandstone. Want to climb up to the top? Then check the monument's website for entry times and cost. On the death of Sir Walter Scott in 1832, the great and the good of Edinburgh came together to agree on a monument to the famous author. In a time when there was no television, films or photographs, he could paint pictures with words, writing novels such as Rob Roy, Ivanhoe and the poem The Lady of the Lake. Sir Walter Scott himself is seated in the centre of his monument and is carved out of white Italian Carrara marble. A bronze copy of this very statue, paid for by Scott's expatriates, stands in Central Park, New York.
National Galleries. They might get off here before.
That's where the hotel is, up that street there.
That is straight.
Yeah,
That is straight. Yeah, we've been here, yeah.
Phones and cameras at the
Yeah,
ready
we've
for
been
an
here.
amazing photo of Edinburgh Castle.
So you're gonna
Perched
stop
high
here or
up on the
something?
plug of an
Or
old
we go
extinct
there. We've never
volcano.
been there.
Doesn't it look as if it just
Huh?
organically
We-
grows
we-
out of the rock? Thanks
we
to
go
this
in there,
natural
back
defence,
here?
it's been estimated that the first fortifications sat on top of this rock over 3,000 years ago. For many Scots, Edinburgh Castle is the symbol of Scotland. If you choose to visit, you'll be walking in the footsteps of kings and queens and even the odd pirate or two. If you're going inside Edinburgh Castle, make sure you pay a visit to St Margaret's Chapel, the oldest building in the city, dating to the 12th century. Margaret is sometimes known as the Pearl of Scotland, but was actually born in Hungary to an exiled English king. When she returned to Britain, a storm blew the ship she was on north to Scotland. That is where she met and married her wild, rough, uncouth Scottish king, Malcolm Canmore. They were married for 23 years and had 8 children together. 3 of the sons would become kings of Scotland, and one of her daughters would marry King Henry I of England. On the left, behind the railings, is the statue of Sir James Young Simpson, who pioneered the use of anaesthesia during childbirth. With many new drugs being discovered during the Victorian period, Simpson would experiment on himself and his associates at one of his famous dinner parties. Being invited to one of his parties would be on everyone's list. The guests would debate all of the medical issues of the day across the dining room table, but all of them were eagerly awaiting dessert. The evening would always end on a high after inhaling the chloroform. One chap was said to be unable to stop laughing hysterically, while another's voice changed from a deep bass into a squeak. And there's even a suggestion that Sir James ended up standing on his head before falling into a deep, peaceful and untroubled sleep. Little did they know that those dining room experiments were about to change medical science forever. Resistance to the sleep-inducing chemical was strong. The authorities thought it was dangerous to religion, morals, and
Scotland
health.
Jollibee.
The use of chloroform was finally accepted when he used it for the birth of Queen Victoria's son, Prince Leopold.
That's Jollibee.
She would give Sir James
Scotland
his
Jollibee.
knighthood.
McDonald. The Caledonian.
We are now approaching our stop on Lothian Road. This is where you can hop off to visit Johnny Walker Princess Street, the Georgian House in Charlotte Square, or take a walk down into Dean Village. Just ring the bell if you'd like to stop here for a while. Please remember to take everything with you, and when you wish to rejoin the tour, just come back to this stop. Check with your driver for the timings of the buses, and remember to check for any discounts and offers in our brochure. This is stop number 2. On the right is the Caledonian Hotel, which takes its name from the Caledonian Railway Company and is known to the locals of Edinburgh as the Calais. Built of beautiful red sandstone, it has been the epitome of Scottish hospitality for over a century, and it quickly built up a reputation for exhilarating galas and sumptuous banquets. Many famous people have stayed at the hotel: royalty, politicians, and quite a few film stars. Gene Kelly famously danced down the sweeping staircase. His most iconic dance scene, in the movie Singing in the Rain, was actually based on his love of Scottish country dancing. On the left, as we come up Lothian Road, there is a little theatre district. In the centre is the Usher Hall, which is loved by performers due to its acoustics. Its curved walls were unusual for the time, and the dome was designed to reflect the curvature of the walls, not to give it a domed interior. The construction of the hall was funded by Andrew Usher, who was a whisky distiller and blender. In 1911, he donated £100,000 to the city specifically to fund the new concert hall. Due to the popularity of the temperance movement at the time, a ban on alcohol was in force at the Usher Hall for the first few years of its existence. A rather ironic situation considering the proceeds from the mass consumption of alcohol had practically paid for the venue's construction. The street we are on is now known as Bread Street. In the 1120s, it was simply known as the King's Garden and amounted to some 35 acres or 14 hectares. This is where the royal gardeners would grow all of the produce needed to keep the king and his court up in the castle well fed. Only slender reasons have been found for it being renamed Bread Street. There does appear to have been only one baker in the street. Get your phones and cameras at the ready for the great view on the left of Edinburgh Castle. We are now coming down the hill into the Old Town through the Westport. Turn the clock back to 1828, and the Westport, with its grimy and threatening closes, became a central player during the murderous activities of Burke and Hare. Here was their lodging house, where they committed their crimes. Then, they would take the still warm bodies to be sold to Dr. Robert Knox's School of Anatomy. The next stop is for the Grass Market. If you're looking for lunch, dinner or drinks, this is the place. There are lots of pubs, delis and cafes down here, and also one of the best views of Edinburgh Castle. Just ring the bell if you'd like to stop here for a while. Please remember to take everything with you, and when you wish to rejoin the tour, just come back to this stop. Check with your driver for the timings of the buses, and remember to check for any discounts and offers in our brochure. This is stop number 3. The Grass Market was so named as it was here that you could buy and sell any animal that ate grass. As late as 1911, you could trade your livestock at the market, be it sheep, cattle or horses. As a gathering point for market traders and castle drovers, the Grass Market was traditionally a place of taverns, hostelries and temporary lodgings. Something that remains true to this day, as you can still find many pubs, restaurants and hotels here. Many of the pubs in the Grass Market can tell you a story or two. One of the pubs in the Grass Market is the White Hart Inn. It claims to be the oldest pub in the city centre, dating back to 1516. The building you can see today is mostly Victorian, but the cellar is original, dating to the 13th century. Of course, no building in Edinburgh would be complete without a ghost or two. In this pub, ghosts have been seen on the stairs, and cups have been moved around tables. But most of the supernatural happenings take place in that cold, dark cellar. One of the most famous stories from the Grass Market is of Maggie Dixon, who has a pub named after her. In the early 1700s, Maggie was found guilty of concealing her pregnancy and was hanged. The doctor pronounced Maggie dead. Her family had to argue with the medical students who wanted to claim her body for dissection. Maggie's body was eventually placed in a cheap wooden coffin and taken to her home parish for burial. However, the bumpy road to Musselburgh shook Maggie awake. and her miraculous recovery was deemed an act of God, and she was set free. Maggie went on to live a long and happy life, and to have more children, and would always be known as Half Hang It Maggie. The road we are now on is called Candlemaker Row. This is where they make candles. Due to the risk of fire, candle makers were housed here for safety reasons, as most of the buildings in the old town were built of wood. But there was also another reason: the smell. You definitely did not want to be downwind of the candle makers, as they were using tallow or whale oil in their production. The smell, apparently, was horrendous, even by the standards of the 17th century Old Town. On the left, at the top of Candlemaker Row, is the statue of the city's most famous dog, Greyfriars Bobby. Bobby's master was Old Jock, a part-time policeman, and to keep him company through the long winter nights, Jock took on a partner, his dog. They became a familiar sight, trudging through Edinburgh's steep and narrow cobbled streets. When Jock died, Bobby was only 2 years old and would not be parted from his master, guarding the grave for the next 14 years. But every day, a crowd would gather at the entrance to the graveyard, waiting for Bobby to leave the graveside to go for his midday meal. Edinburgh and Scotland fell in love with the story of Bobby. Ahead of us is the main campus for Edinburgh University. Scotland has a long history when it comes to education. Edinburgh University would open its doors to students in 1583. Here in the main campus is Teviot Row House, with all of the turrets on it. It is the oldest purpose-built student union building in the world, dating to 1887. The house was designed to cater for all of the students' needs. Victorian students were very different from today. Inside the building, they had a billiard room, a writing room, a dressing room, a retiring room, and a barber shop. Students today can find at least 6 bars in their place. The next stop is for Nicholson Square and the Surgeons' Hall Museum. Ring the bell if you would like to stop here, and please remember to take everything with you when you leave. This is stop number 4.
Which we gonna get off, babe? Where are we gonna get off? Close to the hotel?
6 where we got off.
The large
6.
glass building is the Festival Theatre,
7.
formerly the Empire Theatre of
What
Varieties.
number are we now?
In 1911, one of the
What
most
number are
popular
we
and
now?
highest paid entertainers in the world was the illusionist, the great Lafayette.
Go down and follow.
He opened a 2-week season at the Empire, and the finale to his act was the Lion's Bride. An African lion paced relentlessly in its cage. A young woman walked into the cage. The lion roared and reared up, ready to pounce. The animal's skin was suddenly ripped away to reveal that the great Lafayette had changed places with the lion. As he took his bow, a lamp fell amongst the scenery, which instantly caught fire. The audience thought it was part of the act, but it would take 3 hours to bring the fire under control, and 11 people died. One of them was the great Lafayette himself. His ghost is still said to haunt the theatre. In this area where Edinburgh University Law School now stands was Kirklefield, where one of Scotland's great unsolved murders took place. Early on the morning of the 10th of February 1567, Henry, Lord Darnley, the second husband of Mary, Queen of Scots, was lodging here. He had made many enemies amongst the Scottish nobles, and they decided to take their revenge. At around 2 a.m., barrels of gunpowder placed under Darnley's room exploded. The bodies of Darnley and his servant were later found in a nearby orchard, and it was determined that Darnley had been strangled before the explosion. The man blamed by many for plotting the murder was the Earl of Bothwell. Did Mary know of the plot to murder her husband? No one will ever know. However, the Earl of Bothwell would go on to become the third husband of Mary, Queen of Scots. We'll find out more about Mary and her life as we make our way towards the Palace of Holyrood House. The next stop is for the National Museum of Scotland, which is free for you to
The next
visit.
one.
Just ring the bell if you would like to look around one of the best museums in Europe.
You wanna get down?
Please remember to
And
take
tell
everything
them.
with you.
The next one.
You know where we started? It's one. Where, you know where we go down first up? It was stop number one.
So do you want to get off where we... Do you want to
I don't know,
is there
it's
anywhere
closer
where you
one,
want
yeah.
to see, or do you want to get off near the hotel, or...
Yeah.
There, the hotel or something.
So it's not far to walk.
Is that
Save the
Got
knee.
one at 6, but the one number 7 is closer to the hotel.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So we go to 7.
Seven.
We go to 7.
Because that's where we started, 7.
Yeah.
6 is where we got off.
Oh, is it? Oh, 6, yeah.
It's good like this. We can walk that far anyway like
Yes,
that.
you
Even
walk.
me, I don't think I can go that far.
I enjoyed.
Yeah.
We'll be talking to the bus tour.
Ah, really? I can hear you guys upstairs. I'm doing live on my YouTube. 1 hour and 16 minutes since
1
we
hour
get.
already?
Oh, 1 hour and 16 minutes since we get on. They have Wi-Fi here, that's why. That's why I done live on my YouTube, because we got Wi-Fi here.
I have a nice photo of that green pink.
And we see
What
Ramsey, Gordon Ramsay restaurant.
He's got.
He's born here.
We have to try the Scottish lollies.
He's Scottish.
Yeah.
Gordon Ramsay.
Ramsey.
You know the Scottish lollies? They're popular in Australia.
Oh, okay.
You wanna get up?
The next one, no.
The next
No,
one.
no, no.
The next one is closer to the
Yeah, yeah.
hotel.
This is now 5. Oh, 6.
Oh, there.
Malamig doon.
Oh, yeah.
Cold down there.
Doon kami sa unahan.
Para may cover ka.
Tsaka,
Look for the shop where we can buy the meal, so we can have.
Oh,
a cup of
marami
tea.
dyan.
Yeah, there was one, remember? Just when we come out of the apartment.
Bread, we can make some toast. The phone, the red one.
Yeah,
Still
I
heavy.
took another photo.
Another Scotland. I really want to see the Kashmir. The original customer is here.
Alam mo bakit andito?
Mm.
Kasi high mountain. Sa mga maalmal na yung fine niya.
May jacket nga na cashmere. Next year pa natin masusuot sa Australia.
Mainit talaga nito. Kasi yung mga fine sa mga rope na
Gabing-gabi na sa atin, I think.
at 12.
Kaya walang taong manood. Bukas pa manonood.
Mga size.
Ang ganda nung customer na bago. Oh my God. We just...
Oh, is this where it is?
Yeah,
What's
that's
this
the
top
one.
6? Wash bar. We have to push that. When we stop, we
This
have,
one?
no, when we want to stop somewhere, we have to stop.
This?
Ah,
This one, we stop.
Went through the
You press the button.
no, this stop anyway.
stop
This stop every, but
This look like... Oh, Barry didn't say it. Barry.
sino yun?
Oh, the girl who passed in here is look like my niece Maribek. I thought it's Maribek.
I'm getting the hang of the hop on hop off bus. You just have to remember.
So that. It's in the garden. May garden dun.
This is
Nakita mo yung Jollibee, McDonald's.
yeah.
Mhm. Dahan.
Ikaw naman. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Which way we going?
I thought this was going in the back. I had a meal for our
Bread and butter.
and the lemon.
Finish na.